There is a calling that drives us to challenge ourselves, to push beyond fear, to discover the unknown. This is Exploring the Outdoors.
There's Bandit enjoying the falls. My boy. Hey, how's it going? Tim here with Exploring the Outdoors. Thank you for watching the channel again. Got a new video coming. This one right here is going to be an upgrade to my bed rack. I just extended the bed rack up before I went to Overland Expo East in Virginia, and it worked great the way it was. I had plenty of room in the bed of the truck to get all my gear in, and I had a lot of stuff in this truck because I was carrying demo units for Zero Breeze 2, so I had a lot of their stuff in my truck. So when I was on my way back home, I drove a long ways from the state park I was at in Tennessee, and I got over to the Ouachita National Forest, and it was getting really dark. So I had plenty of light on the front of the truck with the two Auxbeam 7-inch lights up there. Those things are very bright. I'll even put in a little clip in this video right here so you can see me turning those lights on, and you can see how much they light up the road. And I had lights in the back bumper and my LED tail lights, my backup lights, and so I had plenty of lights forward and back. I just didn't have any lights on the sides, and I was trying to navigate my truck back in the trees a little bit, and this thing here blocks a lot of my view, so everything on the side was kind of dark. So I decided I wanted to put some lights on the side of my truck. I'm gonna put one here and one on the other side, and I'll probably put one up under here, kind of aiming out at an angle. And Auxbeam, you know, I like budget friendly stuff, and Auxbeam makes decent lights, and they reached out to me and asked me if I was interested in testing a couple of lights for them, and I told them what the project I had and what I needed, and they were super nice. They sent me these two boxes right here. Nice big sticker. They sent me both these boxes right here, and what's in these boxes is just for this project because they asked me about it. And these are 3-inch little spotlights, and they're very nice. There's 4 LEDs in there, and I'm going to mount, like I said, 2 up here on the front aiming off to the side, and I'm thinking about putting the ones back here underneath and aiming back, kind of like this at an angle, so they'll shine off to the side back corners, and then I got the ones in the bumper to shine straight back. So, and they'll all be on individual switches because I have the Auxbeam controller in the cab, so I have a whole bunch of buttons that ain't being used. It's the 8 position switch, so I can tie these into that, so I won't need to use all of their wiring harness. I don't need all the relays and stuff because I have their box that's fused and relayed up there. So that's the project for today. Is I'm going to get at least the 2 side ones mounted today, and the best way to do that is to drill a hole and use a rib nut, and I'll show you that tool in this video as we're doing it. We'll drill a hole, use some silicone, put around the rib nut, stick it in, we'll tighten it down with the tool, and then we can bolt the bracket on with some 5/16 bolts that I went and bought. I was going to use their bolt, but the thread pattern didn't match up with the rib nuts that I already had, so I just went and bought me some 5/16 by 18 bolts. So let's get to it. Now, before we get to it, show you what's in the box. So they come individually wrapped. Each light's in its own little thing here, all protected by a styrofoam. And then you have both your mounting brackets for both lights right here. And then you get this nice big wire harness. The wire harness has plugs for both lights, 2 terminals already made up for going to your battery, and a switch on it. So if you wanted to use this, you can, but I don't need this because I have their controller, so I have to modify mine a little bit to make it work. And these are the bolts I'm using. So let me go get my tools out we'll get some measuring done, and I'm probably going to put them probably about midways right up in here somewhere. So this is the tool that every shop should have if you're doing modifications to your vehicle, which is the riv nut tool. This thing here is awesome for adding these little flush mounted, basically inserts on your bed rack, bed, whatever you're doing, where you can thread bolts into it and not have to have bolts sticking all the way through and a nut on the other side. Now, if you're going to be going on trips like this, I would highly suggest getting you a nice little tool bag, and Riker makes a really awesome tool bag. This one is extremely nice. All the zippers are nice one-hand operated zippers, big pouches. I got all my tools right here. Got my hammer, my punch, everything I need for doing this job, and it's usually always in the truck in that big box. Alright, so this is the riv nut I'm using. Obviously that drill bit is a lot smaller, so what I do is I center punch the hole where I want it, and then I'm going to start out with a small drill bit, drill that hole out, and then I slowly step the hole up with what is called a unibit, or people call them step up bits, because it just keeps bringing the hole up bigger and bigger and bigger until you get the hole you want. And then once we get it to where it fits, then we'll stop and we'll put the riv nut in. There we go. Alright, so now that we got our hole done, we'll clean this pipe off, get all the little burrs off of it and stuff. And I don't want water to seep in around this thing once it's inserted, so I'm going to put a little clear silicone on this thing, stick it in there, use the tool and squeeze it, and then I'll wipe the silicone off. And then I'm going to put silicone on the threads of the bolt when I install the bolts to put the lights on too. So, yeah. Yep. So the way this tool works with these things, you get this little piece right here sticking out like a bolt. You just open them up all the way. And this is the thread size for this riv nut. You thread it on all the way, like so. You just stick it in the hole, all the way in, and you just give it a good squeeze. And then you use this little knob right here, and you unthread it. And ta-da! Now you have a threaded insert in your bed rack. Now I just got to finish bolting this bracket onto the light. The little bolt goes in here, nut goes in there, and you just tighten it up with an Allen wrench. Got to put the other one on this side, and then we'll bolt it onto the truck. Alright, so I'm gonna have my left and my right side right there. This is my back bumper lights. And then these two lights right here, I'm gonna call these my bed lights. They're gonna be hot. So I didn't know where they're at on that little thing, so I know where to hook my wires to. So up here is the Auxbeam panel. And